As the number of coronavirus cases, as they surge nationwide, the race for a vaccine, that is speeding up. Janelle Bluda connects the dots.
There could be a silver lining to the rise in coronavirus cases in the United States. It could speed up the arrival of a vaccine. Let's connect the dots. Whether you want to call it a second surge or another wave, coronavirus cases are on the way back up, not just in the US, but across Europe as well. This comes as researchers around the world are frantically working to develop a vaccine, with a few now in the all-important and massive final trial. In a recent interview, one researcher at Cincinnati's Children's Hospital said this new rise in cases could help speed up that final trial. That's because during that stage, they take hundreds if not thousands of volunteers and inject some with a vaccine candidate and others with a placebo. They then wait to see if the vaccine group develops less infections than the placebo group. If coronavirus is spreading rapidly among populations where the vaccines are being tested, they may not have to wait so long to see if they work. But even with this accelerated pace, experts still say most of us should not expect to get access to a vaccine until sometime in 2021. Connecting the dots, I'm Janelle Bluda for H-Town Rush.
All right, Janelle, thank you. And Moderna, that's one of the companies, says it's on track to produce 20 million doses of its experimental vaccine by the end of the year. AstraZeneca, that's another one, says its vaccine could be ready, get this, for Christmas. That's could be ready. And Pfizer's CEO is hoping for emergency use authorization by the end of the month.